breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
First up at 5 o'clock, breaking news we're following. We sent out a push alert explaining the Archdiocese of Indianapolis is cutting ties with Brebeuf Jesuit High School after the school refused to fire a teacher who is in a same-sex marriage.
And tonight we are hearing from both Brebeuf and the Archdiocese, who are now at odds, and what all of this means for the students.
RTV6's Graham Hunter is live at Brebeuf with new details coming in tonight. Graham.
Well, leadership here at Brebeuf Jesuit is calling it a sincere and significant disagreement. That disagreement over what entity should be able to decide who is employed here. The school is refusing to follow an order from the Archdiocese that it fires someone they call a highly capable and qualified teacher who is in a same-sex marriage. In a statement, the school calls the Archdiocese insertion into an employment matter unprecedented and says there was also concern that following the decree would set a precedent for future interference in the school's operation or other governance matters. Issues, the statement says the Brebeuf Jesuit leadership has historically had the sole right and privilege to decide. We met with the principal of the school to find out what message they were hoping to send to students with this decision.
They should expect, the students should expect to have the same education with the same values and mission that they've come to expect and to love about Brebeuf Jesuit over the years. So I just want to reassure them that, programming will remain unchanged. There will not be a lot that they'll notice, if anything.
In a statement, the Archdiocese says this decree is effective immediately and will remain in effect until such a time as Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School demonstrates their desire to operate in accord with the doctrine and pastoral practice of the Catholic Church. Now, in spite of the decree, Brebeuf officials say the Archdiocese will allow their priests to continue to serve here at Brebeuf Jesuit, and those officials say their identity as a Catholic Jesuit institution remains unchanged. We're reporting from the north side, Graham Hunter, RTV6.
Graham, thank you. Now, Roncalli High School handled a similar situation much differently. Roncalli suspended counselor Shelley Fitzgerald indefinitely last year for her same-sex marriage. Fitzgerald has filed complaints with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. A second counselor at Roncalli High School said in March of this year that she was losing her job because of her same-sex marriage. According to her attorneys, the school notified Lynn Starkey that her marriage to a woman violates her contract and it would not be renewed for next school year. Families want more support from a home health care program that serves about 14,000 Hoosiers. They say there's a problem that could be impacting a crucial part of the program and their care.
Working for you, RTV6's Stephanie Wade finds out why and how this could impact patients and the action you can take tonight.
One of the issues that you find in this field is that you get wonderful people and they are so committed to what they're doing, but at some point it becomes financially not feasible for them anymore.
8-year-old Emma Geller has cerebral palsy. Thanks to the aged and disabled Medicaid waiver, people like Emma are able to receive home nursing care. Emma's mom, Annie, and her husband both work, so this is a huge help for them. But the problem they're running into is keeping good, well-trained home nurses long enough. Turnover is so frequent, Annie says, because nurses can find higher-paying jobs at hospitals or other facilities. In the past 6 years, Emma's had about 24 different nurses.
That makes it hard. You don't have stability. You don't have reliability. So it comes to the point of, oh my gosh, I don't think we have a nurse today who's calling in sick to work.
Do you think that the reimbursement rate right now is high enough?
No, it's not.
And coming up at 6, we speak with a state legislator to see what can be done to help these families. At the State House, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Thank you, Stephanie. They call it a life or death situation. Today, a huge rally outside of Eli Lilly, people demanding lower insulin prices. They say the high cost for the medicine diabetics use is costing people their lives. And last month, Eli Lilly announced it now sells insulin Lispro for $137 per vial. Or you can pay $265 for a 5-pack of preloaded injector pens. Lilly did this because of criticism over expensive prices. Advocates say people in other countries still pay way less for the exact same insulin. And today's advocates say this is not nearly enough to save the lives of people who cannot afford such expensive insulin.
I started noticing that people were dying from rationing insulin, and that is a very personal thing to me because I'm not going to be the next person on that list. This vial of insulin, it only costs $6.16 to make, yet Eli Lilly behind me is charging me $275 with no change to this insulin whatsoever. People are dying because they can't afford this.
There is no word if Eli Lilly or any other company that makes insulin is willing to lower prices for patients. But in April, Governor Holcomb signed into law a bill aimed at creating more transparency when it comes to how much you pay for medication. The law establishes a committee to study why prescription prices are so high. A woman who first shared her story with RTV6 testified in favor of the bill last month. Sarah Skipper told us the high cost of insulin forced her to ration the life-saving medication.
Let's get your Storm Team 6 forecast. A live view from our tower cam downtown showing the White River this afternoon. Gusty conditions today. It's also cooler, but that rain is gone. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is tracking what comes next.
It's nice to live in the moment, right? The humidity's down. We got a nice breeze and those cooler temperatures pretty obvious. It's a nice evening, and just to confirm, we often use this radar to go track the storms and hop all over the place, but not this evening and not tonight. We are dry and we'll stay that way in the short term. Talk about when it comes back in a second. I'm focused a little bit to the west. This is Greencastle and Putnam County. Think you'll see the clouds begin to break up before the rest of us in central and eastern portions of the state, but that's the trend toward partly cloudy skies tonight. Here's the change maker. A change in wind direction has changed a lot of things. It's lowered the humidity by bringing in the drier and also cooler air. Thus, the temperatures are down as well. The wind will calm down a little bit this evening, generally 10 to 15 miles per hour. 71, average high is 83 this time of year. In the 60s in Lafayette and Peru, temperatures are on their way to the 50s overnight. We'll slowly make our way there. 66 at 10 o'clock tonight. Less humid and still that breeze west at 15 miles per hour.
Who is breaking into vehicles in the small town of Rossville? Late this afternoon, police arrested 18-year-old Michael Hurley. He faces a preliminary charge of theft. Since Sunday, 10 vehicles have been broken into. A laptop, a drone, and iPads were stolen from Ryan Pritchett's SUV that was parked in his driveway. Authorities also say a gun and prescription drugs have been stolen from other cars. Residents are concerned, but at least one person told us the solution might just be locking your vehicle.
I have a son, his truck was broken into last month, and they took his radio and everything out of it. Really? Yeah. So, you know, he had to spend a couple $100 and get that, put a new radio in, and again, he didn't lock his truck. So we told him to lock his truck now.
A search warrant was executed at Hurley's home. Most of the property stolen has been recovered, including a gun.
The Pacers are trying to work their way back toward the top of the NBA Eastern Conference.
A big part of the team's future success could come tonight in the draft. So Brad Brown joins us now with an early look at what's in store there. Brad.
Mark and Amanda, the Pacers talked early this week. They aren't looking for a right now kind of guy in the draft. That's the nature of having a pick that's in the middle of tonight's list. And by the time the 18th selection gets here, there should be plenty of guys available that could turn into future stars for the team. The Pacers hosted more than 24 players for draft workouts over the past 4 weeks. They got a good look at another batch of guys at the draft combine in Chicago. Keep in mind that they'll be watching closely the 3 teams that pick right ahead of them. That's Detroit, Orlando, and Brooklyn. Those teams' selections will likely impact who the Pacers ultimately choose.
You know, 14 to probably 21 or 22, we feel are pretty equal in terms of, you know, predicting their talent level, and those guys could go in a lot of different orders. So we'll see how it plays out. But I do feel like probably late lottery to a little bit past where we are, there will be some good choices and good players to pick in that range.
It's an interesting spot for the Pacers tonight. These are the first 7 teams that didn't make the draft lottery, but all were playoff teams. All of them also trying to take that big step to being top-level contenders. We will have more from Ryan Carr and the Pacers coming up at 6 o'clock. Also tonight, Dylan Windler, largely off the radar until a huge senior season at Belmont University put him in the spotlight. A massive highlight reel during the tournament time. We will hear what the Perry Meridian High School grad has to say about his draft prospects. That's coming up tonight at 6:20.
We'll see you then, Brad. Thank you. President Donald Trump says he's awarding a Presidential Medal of Freedom to Roger Penske, a very familiar name in Indianapolis. This is video from when Penske accompanied Simon Pagenaud to the White House after his Indy 500 win in May. The 82-year-old Penske is a fixture in the Detroit automotive scene and is one of the most successful businessmen in the United States. On top of that, he has won 18 Indy 500 races as a car owner.
Still ahead at 5:30 on RTV6, you may have seen the Impossible Burger on some restaurant menus. It's a plant-based burger option, but is it just a short fad? Our Scripps team takes a deeper dive.
And just ahead here at 5 o'clock, could the U.S. and Iran be headed for war? What both President Trump and Iran are saying tonight.
A new video emerging of the tornado that tore through Beech Grove. That's coming up.
And no rain now. We're not expecting it tonight, but this is what will develop. Some patchy fog. We'll talk about after the fog tomorrow and look to the changes for the weekend coming up.
1,000-mile warranty at Honda of Fishers.
You're watching the news at 5 on RTV6. U.S. Senator Todd Young said he supports efforts to get the heroes of 9/11 the medical support they need, but stopped short of saying he would co-sponsor the bill. The Senate version of the bill has 47 co-sponsors, including 13 Republicans, but neither senator from Indiana is one of them. The bill would permanently reauthorize the fund, which helps firefighters and police officers who helped on 9/11 get medical treatments. The bill became a huge topic of conversation after Jon Stewart, the former host of The Daily Show, made an impassioned plea to get the bill passed.
American heroes, we all recognize, need to receive the full compensation to which they're due. And so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to consider that measure that's being passed out of the House. We'll consider it here in the Senate real soon.
5 U.S. House members from Indiana are co-sponsoring the House version of the bill, including Representatives Andre Carson and Susan Brooks.
Tonight, President Trump says Iran made a very bad mistake in shooting down an American drone, but also suggesting the attack may have been inadvertent. Meanwhile, a top Iranian commander is warning that while Iran does not want war, they are ready for it. ABC's Trevor Alt with new developments from Washington, D.C.
Today, President Trump not yet showing his cards in the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran, responding to questions of a potential full-scale war breaking out by telling reporters, "You'll find out," but also warning America would not stand for Iran shooting down a U.S. surveillance drone.
Iran made a mistake.
Pentagon officials saying an unarmed, unmanned drone was flying over the Gulf of Oman when it was taken out by an Iranian missile.
This drone was in international waters. Clearly, we have it all documented. It's documented scientifically, not just words.
But President Trump also suggesting it may have happened by accident.
I find it hard to believe it was intentional, if you want to know the truth. I think that it could have been somebody who was loose and stupid that did it.
Iran is saying that's not the case. An Iranian military commander saying their defense system bravely shot down the U.S. spy aircraft because it had trespassed into Iranian airspace, warning that while Iran doesn't want war, they are ready for it. The Trump administration has accused Iran of attacking international ships operating in the region, and today's drone downing is likely seen as another escalation of their accused aggression. Senator Lindsey Graham saying President Trump needs to respond.
This is an enemy of mankind, and if you're not willing to take this enemy on, you'll regret it.
But others are urging caution, including Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
I don't think the president wants to go to war. There's no appetite for going to war in our country.
Today, Iran's foreign minister is standing by the decision to shoot down this drone, saying that they had recovered parts of the aircraft in their own waters, and they say it's directly beneath where that drone was flying in their airspace. Trevor Alt, ABC News, Washington.
Only on RTV6, an ABC News exclusive.
For the first time, we're hearing from the fiance of the 29-year-old woman who was killed when a massive crane fell into their apartment in downtown Dallas a week and a half ago.
Oh my God, the crane is falling over. Oh my God.
Well, that was the moment that one family's lives changed forever.
Eric Reidenauer and his fiancee, 29-year-old Kirsten Smith, were spending a lazy Sunday in their Dallas apartment when a severe thunderstorm with 70-mile-an-hour winds blew through. That's when the unthinkable happened.
Everything kind of just went dark like this. I don't remember hearing a sound. I could see white and darkness at the same time. And I could feel texture in the air. The first words out of my mouth were my fiance's name, Kirsten. And I don't know how many times I said her name. I was screaming her name. And I could not find her.
Eric desperately reaching out for his fiancée. He survived the accident, but Kirsten did not.
As firefighters were rushing Eric to safety, he managed to grab the one thing that he will cherish forever. Eric was able to recover their engagement picture. Authorities are still investigating what went wrong and why. The family has hired a team of attorneys who are planning on their own investigation.
Just a heartbreaking story there. Mosquitoes are running rampant this time of year, especially with all the rain we've had lately. But working for you, our Scripps team is finding ways to get rid of those mosquitoes without using all of those dangerous chemicals. Experts say pesticides and chemicals sprayed on yards seeps into the ground and eventually runs into nearby rivers and streams. And that's why people like Cindy Ross have found alternatives. She turned her entire backyard into a native species haven that attracts all sorts of insects. And when mosquitoes come, they often find predators like dragonflies.
I often see dragonflies buzzing around. Dragonflies can eat 2,000 to 3,000 mosquitoes in a day. So that's my natural mosquito repellent.
Wow. A native garden is a good start to save yourself from those bites. Experts say highly aromatic plants are natural mosquito deterrents. Basil, thyme, lemongrass, and lavender are all plants that tend to fend off mosquitoes. Citronella candles are a go-to for some. A well-placed bat box. Natural predators of mosquitoes can help too. Also, removing standing water from your yard. Tonight, a new perspective of the tornado that hit Beech Grove, damaging the high school and causing a mess around the Marion County city. This is surveillance video released today by Beech Grove High School. This is what happened in the school's southwest parking lot.
An RV is there and the winds pick up, overturning another vehicle. Then people hurriedly run from that RV to try to get out of harm's way. The school did suffer some damage, but school officials say it will be covered by their insurance. Now, watching that video makes it so much more intense to see
It's
that
amazing
angle
to
of it.
see that, yes.
Surprising the RV didn't go over.
Or tipped over.
But I think it's interesting, you know, we read about wind speeds 120 miles per hour, and you have one reaction when you read it. When you see it, and the
It
force,
blows your mind.
Yeah, it's a totally different kind of more visceral reaction to weather events when you actually see them. All right, let's talk about what we're not seeing in central Indiana, and it's rain. That's nice. Now, we have this on-edge feeling it's never far away, right?
It feels like it these days, right?
If it's not in the state, where is it? It's off to the east. That's moving away, off to the northwest. Next weather system, we're just in between and briefly in between. I think this time tomorrow evening, we'll have showers and some thunderstorms returning to central Indiana, and that'll set up a wet weekend. Breaks in the cloud cover. We're making progress and some motion in the trees. That west wind has been rather strong, but refreshing, kind of clearing everything out, getting rid of the humidity before that comes back in a big way for the weekend as well. Temperatures comfortably cool is one way to put it. 63 in Wayne County, almost 20 degrees below average, 74 in Terre Haute, 77 down in Bedford. Wherever you are this evening, maybe you've got the windows open to enjoy some of that refreshing air. Love this picture. Thanks to Chelsea for sending it in. There's Stormy.
Hey, Stormy.
And I'll give you a second to soak this in.
She does dishes?
Look at that. Yep, she's got her paws on the sink, so I can only think after a snack she brought her dishes back into the kitchen and did the
I need to teach Leo to do that.
Raised well, exactly.
And I thought I'd use this Stormy on this day where it's nice and calm. Through the evening hours, if we see any spotty light showers, those will fade quickly once the sun sets and we start working on this. Temperatures that will drop as cool as 54 in Peru and Lafayette, 58 in the metro area. Coolest temperatures within the 7-day forecast, and we make a quick recovery. 20-degree jump in most spots to an afternoon high. Right around 80 degrees. The chance for thunderstorms will increase late afternoon. 1 o'clock, we're still dry. 4 o'clock, showers and thunderstorms between Terre Haute and Crawfordsville, southwest of Indy. That moves off to the south and east. We'll see some redevelopment on Friday night and Saturday. Notice right now it's kind of targeting southwest portions of central Indiana. It will become far more widespread, and the most likely time for that will be Saturday night and Sunday. 7-day planner. Tomorrow, back to 79. Temperatures up, but the humidity still lagging behind. We'll feel the full brunt of the humidity really on Sunday. Thunderstorms most likely, as we mentioned, Saturday night and Sunday and into Monday as well. That's a period where we could see a few inches of rain once again, maybe 2 to 4 inches in some of the heavier locations.
I've been hearing from everybody. They're just tired of it. Tired of the rain.
Yes, I feel like I have a ton of bricks on my shoulder, too. Let's move on.
Well, hopefully some good weather for this tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow, you can celebrate the longest day of the year with yoga.
So more than 4,000 yogis are expected to attend the 7th annual Monumental Yoga on Monument Circle. It is a free community yoga class incorporating many of the yoga studios in the area. The community yoga class is from 7 to 8 p.m. 4 mini yoga classes will be offered from 4 to 6:30 p.m. And it's always an event I look forward to.
It looks it. Harry Potter fans, tomorrow is your day. While you're going to be reuniting with other fans, the big launch you need to know about.
Keller and Keller.
Tomorrow, Harry Potter fans around the world will unite.
Yes, unite around their phones, and that's because a new Harry Potter mobile game called Wizards Unite rolls out in the U.S. tomorrow. It's an augmented reality game that makes fictional characters appear on people's phones as if they existed in the real Muggle world.
Users will play the roles of wizards, whose tasks include casting spells and teleporting themselves. Hey, the game is free, but players will have the option to buy currency in the game using real money.
That's why I'm walking around with my phone tomorrow. You know why.
Right. Playing Harry Potter there, right? All new at 6 p.m. here on RTV6. She reached out to RTV6 with her issue, and now we're trying to solve it. The efforts to curb speeding in this family-friendly neighborhood, new at 6.
But first on the Now, Indy, the rain has subsided for now, but it's still in the forecast for this weekend. This is putting local farmers in a tailspin. The impact this wet weather is having on local crops and how it could eventually affect you. You're watching RTV6.